Welcome to this show. It's called Thou Shalt Not Add or Take Away. And I'm your host, Sakuran. And pretty much I'm going to go into how these different translations, these new world translations, and American Standard versions, and easy to read versions, and all these new versions that they have added to the Bible, or all these new Bibles that they have came up with within a couple of years. I'm gonna prove how all these translations have corrupted and changed the word to make it mean what the people wanted to mean or say, rather than what the Lord had said. All right, so I'm gonna be going into a few things. Right now I have a book on a ebook on file here, and it goes into that. All right, and the name of it is "How Do Bible Translations Differ from Each Other?" All right, and the author is Leland Ryken. Okay, and I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read the this uh a couple of paragraphs and skip, and pretty much he's gonna pretty much prove how and bring out how these different translations are corrupting the word, to make it suit and fit people in modern times, with their beliefs, instead of to bring out the truth what the Lord had brought out. And they corrupt it and they change it from what the Greek and the Hebrew says. All right. So this is the title here. It says, "How do Bible translations differ from each other?" And it says, he says this, that I want to begin by surveying and critiquing what has been happening in Bible translation for the past 50 years. If I am right, few lay people know what really makes various English translations different from each other. See Appendix, Bible Translations Chart. When one of my colleagues in the Bible department at Wheaton College polls his students about Bible translations, he finds that they begin with the premise that all modern translations are equally accurate as renditions of the original text, and that the only basis for preferring one over another is the criterion of readability. In my judgment, this is a matter for serious concern. But who am I to sit in judgment on this state of unawareness? When I joined the Translation Oversight Committee of the English Standard Version of the Bible, at our first meeting, the president of the publishing company announced that the ESV, which stands for the English Standard Version, would be an essentially literal translation. I had no idea what that meant, nor how an essentially literal translation differs from its implied alternative. Since that moment of embarrassing ignorance, I have learned what the issues are, and I have become alarmed at what happened to Bible translation about 4 decades ago. So let me attempt a brief history and analysis of where we stand in English Bible translation. So this guy here, Leland, have found out that these new translations of the Bible changed from what the Lord, from the original text, from the Hebrew, the Hebrew and Greek text that they found, in different places like the Qumran caves and different other places, which were original texts, original writings in Hebrew and in Greek, um, that these new world translations have changed, the meaning of what the Lord had, the message that the Lord brought out. So a lot of these people are believing in these new Bibles, and they don't even know that these things have been changed and tampered with. They have gay Bibles now to fit the gay population. And that's wrong. For that's one reason why the Lord's gonna come back to destroy this world. Destroy America, destroy this society, take it down, just like He did to Sodom and Gomorrah, Zeboim, Admah, and there was another city. All right, so this is happening. That's why we're out there prophesying like the Lord always send out his men to prophesy the downfall of a kingdom, of a great kingdom. Like you had Assyria, you had Babylon, meet the Medo Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, they all fell. America is also a great kingdom, and it's prophesied in the Bible, and it's gonna fall too. It's Babylon the Great. All right. Now this is another chapter here. It says the goal of Bible translation. Until the middle of the 20th century, English Bible translation was governed by the assumption that the goal of Bible translation was to translate the words of the original Hebrew and Greek texts insofar as the process of translation allows. I know of no major widely used English Bible before the middle of the 20th century that did not primarily aim to reproduce in English the words of the original. Right, in other words, word for word. William Tyndale, from whom English Bible translation largely flows, even coined words like intercession and atonement, so as to be faithful to the actual words of the Greek text. Alistair Alistair McGrath, in his book on the King James Version, claims that a careful study of the way in which the King James Bible translates the Greek and Hebrew originals shows that the translators tried to ensure that every word in the original had an English equivalent, to highlight all words added to the original for the sake of intelligibility, and to follow the word order of the original where possible. So these translators, that's what they were trying to accomplish, to stick for word without changing the meaning of the word, the translation. All right. And it says, around the middle of the 20th century, a theory of translation known as dynamic equivalence became the fashionable translation theory. Dynamic equivalence, more recently sailing under the name functional equivalence, has as its aim to reproduce not the words of the original text, but the ideas or thoughts. The ideas and thoughts of who? The ideas and thoughts of these so-called scholars that the Illuminati has set up, to make sure that they offset the prophecy and the truth of Israel, the Israelites, and who they are, and to keep them away by way of religion and by